I hope everybody enjoyed their yummy breakfast. Who took advantage of the omelet bar? Yeah, that was a really nice addition. So, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Polly Marquardt, and I'm with the Greater Bowie Chamber of Commerce. And I would like to invite David Wolf, the president of the Greater Bowie Chamber of Commerce, here to the podium.
Good morning, and thank you for coming to the State of the County breakfast. I'd like to take just a couple of moments to say a few words about the Chamber and also to thank our sponsors and such. The Greater Bowie Chamber of Commerce is a bipartisan organization whose mission is to protect, enhance, and promote local businesses by providing a voice for business at local, county, and state levels. Could the members of the Board of Directors please stand up and just be recognized, please? Thank you, guys. I would also like to take a moment to acknowledge our event sponsors, Bowler Engineering, and the Honorable Todd M. Turner, who's Vice Chair of the Prince George's County Council, District 4. Our photography today is provided by Jackie Hicks, portrait artist. And I would like to recognize our chamber sponsors, our platinum sponsors, BGE and the Bowie Baysox. That's okay, you can applaud, yeah. We would not exist without our members and our corporate sponsors. Our gold sponsors, St. John Properties, W.F. Chesley Real Estate, the Honorable Todd M. Turner. That's a gold. Thank you. Our bronze sponsors are Berman Enterprises, O'Malley, Miles, Nyland, and Gilmore, Sherman Ragland, the Real Investors Academy, Somerset Construction Company, Thrive Senior Living, and Widman Financial Services. We also have some notable guests in our audience today, and I'd just like to recognize them and thank them for coming. From the Bowie Council, City Council? No, they haven't. Okay. We have Mayor Fred Robinson from City of Bowie. Thank you. Mayor Craig Moe from the City of Laurel is here. Thank you for coming, sir. Appreciate it. And our county officials. Prince George's County Council member Todd Turner. Thank you, sir. And our state and U.S. officials, we have, and she wants to be called PK, from the office of U.S. Senator Chris Van Hollen. Hi, PK. Thank you for coming. Ryan Middleton from Ben Cardin's office. And now I would like to introduce a gentleman that I've known for a number of years and love talking to him. I'd like to have Lynn Lucci come up. There's a couple of fun facts about Lynn that you may not know. Okay, Lynn is the first two-term president of the Greater Bowie Chamber of Commerce. He's a lifelong city resident and a prominent lobbyist in Annapolis. Please welcome Mr. Lucci.
Good morning, everybody, welcome to this, can I say this, Pauline? The extravaganza, right? Welcome to the Greater Bowie Chamber of Commerce State of the County speech. Now, you may ask, what is Greater Bowie? And I think the mayor has the answer for you, right? Greater Bowie goes from the Beltway to the Bay. That's Greater Bowie. Unless something bad happens, in which case it's Lesser Bowie. It's hard to believe that 7 years ago, a young, full head of hair county executive named Rushern L. Baker III came to speak to us and tell us about his plans for the next 4 or 8 years. And he's been coming back ever since. And this year he's going to come and tell us what he's done the past 8 years. And I'm not going to take away from that. But it does make you wonder, why does Rushern Baker keep coming back to Bowie? Now, maybe it's because his children went to school there and he has fond memories of taking them to Bowie in the morning. Or maybe it's because before he became a busy person, he would jog around Allen Pond, and he has fond memories of that. Or maybe it's because he loves our home team, the Bowie Baysox. General Manager Brian Shallcross is here, the destination not just for Bowie or Prince George's County, but for the entire region. Or maybe it's because he reveres Bowie State University, a very terrific institute of higher learning, and our new exciting president there, Dr. Bro. Or maybe it's just because Rushern Baker loves Mayor Robinson, and he keeps coming back. Because, you know, best pictures change, seasons change, presidents change, Rushern governors change, but Mayor Robinson is always there. He is our anchor in the storm. He is Rushern's Rock of Gibraltar. So, but maybe it's all those reasons. But whatever the reason is, please join me in welcoming our friend, County Executive Rushern L. Baker III.
Oh my God. I don't even, I mean, how do you speak after that? That was pretty good. Leonard went down there. Before he leaves, I'm going to talk about him. So my wife loves calling him Len Luce. But Len has been a close friend of ours, our family, actually since I first started getting involved in politics in Prince George's County. And he has been a supporter of mine and my family from the very beginning, and a dear friend. So let's give him another round of applause. Thank you. I know he has to run off because he's trying to handle some issues for me. So it's not because he's heard the speech 1,000 times and he doesn't want to hear it again. You know, Mayor Robinson, it's always great to be in Bowie or close to Bowie. I guess this is where we are today.
Wherever you are, you're close to Bowie.
You're close to Bowie. You know, I thought he was going to say that, you know, the mayor always says they divide the world into two categories. People who live in Bowie and people who wish they lived in Bowie. Is that it?
No, but people that
Should live. You know, Mr. President, you know, I want to thank you and the Chamber for inviting me back, only for a great gathering here. It is kind of bittersweet for me these days as I go around and take stock of the last 7 years. And I do have fond memories of coming here when I first started out. In the very beginning, it was a great place, quite honestly, for my wife and I to come when I would give my talks about the state of the economy. If you remember back then, and I'm sure Tom Himmler and David Iannucci remember those days, a lot of this was wishful thinking of what we wanted Prince George's County to be. And as we were preparing for today, we were looking at some of the old addresses that I had before you. And in 2012, I came here and I talked about a sense of urgency in the county, about addressing the key economic challenges that we face in Prince George's County. In 2012, we were dead last among Maryland counties in terms of job growth. Today, we're number one. Not only in the state, yes. Think about it. Not only in the state, but in the Washington region. To put that in perspective, Prince George's County is the 21st highest rated employment growth in of the 347 largest counties in the United States. Our job growth rate is 3.5. This ranking is based on a total population. This ranking of employment doubles our nearest competitor. Just think about it. The national average is 1.7%. Prince George's County is highest ranked in jurisdiction in the state, as I said, among the Washington region. Our nearest competitor is Loudoun County, which is 55th. Think about Fairfax County and how people talk about it. It's 121. Prince George's County's job growth rate at 3.5 doubles the state job growth rate, which is 1.4. So if we were not in the mix, the state would really be down. I may use that somewhere. I don't know, just a thought. But this didn't happen by accident. It happened because we purposefully focused on expanding our commercial tax base to bring quality jobs to the county. We had a strategy of expanding our economic development, reducing crime, and improving our public education system. It is clear here in Prince George's County, now we are the place to be. Last November, we broke ground on a $650 million University of Maryland Capital Region Medical Center in downtown Largo. Anybody know where downtown Largo is? 7 years ago, there was not a downtown Largo. But think about Largo today. Anchored by a regional medical center, along with a redevelopment of the boulevard. Government office facilities, and yes, there are government office facilities, right, Todd? Not only that, the county administration building is right next to it. Largo today, not tomorrow, not 10 years from now, is a critical area where you have critical mass where economic development spreads throughout. Last December, we opened what people said would not happen. I know, because when we went to Annapolis, they said it would not happen. They said it would be a cold day in December. I said, it's cold in December. You can see why they love me so much in Annapolis. But we opened the new $1.4 billion MGM National Harbor Resort, which not only provides 3,600 full-time jobs, but has created the renaissance of National Harbor. The growth there has been tremendous. It has provided jobs for county residents, business opportunities for county residents, and has helped us in our growth around the state. It has also contributed to education funding not only in Prince George's County, but for the state. Job growth and economic development investment have been robust in every part of our county. We have nearly $9 billion of private investment in Prince George's County since the beginning of this administration in 2010. Over the past several months, I've participated in 16, seems like I'm doing one every 5 minutes, groundbreaking, ceremonial events, and major economic projects. If I can just take a moment, just think about that. When we came in 2010, we often forget this. And I wanted to, especially, the men and women I work with, to remember what it was like when we came in here. Because sometimes it's easy to forget. There was probably one major development project that was actively going on in Prince George's County. There was an active FBI investigation in Prince George's County. Wall Street demanded, not asked, demanded that a brand new county executive come up to New York and defend our AAA bond rating because government funds had been involved in the FBI investigation. Our homicide rates went up. We led the nation in foreclosures. Businesses, other than the great job that was being done right here in Bowie, with your economic development, with your mayor and your council, businesses would not even entertain the idea of coming to Prince George's County. And so when we say things like there are 16 groundbreakings and ceremonial openings in the county, it is not a little thing. In fact, the other day, speaking of MGM, we have this model in the office, really nice model. And I was asking them, can I take that home? And they said, no, it belongs to the county. And I, pointed to my chief of staff and I said, well, that's a really nice motto. I said, do you think people will remember that this happened during the Baker administration? And she said, well, that's an unusual project you have there. I said, why? She said, think about it. It's one of the few projects that began and ended in your term of office. That almost never happens. I know here in Bowie that the mayor and the city council have, for as long as I can remember, been actively and aggressively not only seeking businesses here, but working with them, using your economic development incentive to attract and retain businesses to the city of Bowie. I know that in Laurel, they do the same thing. It's not an accident that when we talk about projects like Milford, that's going on right here, that the investment that was made by St. John's to stay here is because they knew they had a city they could work with. It's not an accident the development that goes on in Laurel happened the way it did. It is because you understand, and the men and women who work with you understand, that if you are to grow and to make this the great place that you want people to live, work, and play in, that you have to be willing to do that. It wasn't lost on David Iannucci or Tom Himmler or myself that when we came here to give the State of the County address on economics, that we were actually coming here to pick your pockets, to pick your ideas. Because if you were doing it right here, how could we get it done throughout the 500 square miles of this great county? If you understood as mayor how great this city is and the way that you talk about the city is different than people talk about other parts of this county. It is not a time when you're in the audience or in the room with the mayor, he doesn't say this is the greatest place to live. The city of Bowie, everybody should want to come here. And he says it with conviction. The mayor of Laurel says the same thing when you come to his great city. That is what I wanted for Prince George's County the day that I stepped into this office. The day that I put my hand on that Bible, I wanted people to believe the same way you believe. It is why when the first opportunity I got to go to Annapolis, in the midst of everything else that was going on in 2010, is why I walked up to the podium in Annapolis with the county executive of Montgomery County and the then county executive of Howard County, Ken Ullman, and the county executive of Baltimore County and all the legislators. And you could hear it in the room. They were like, oh my God, that poor guy. He got that job that he was trying to get for 8 years. What is he going to say? And I said, Prince George's County is the economic engine of the Washington region, and I dare say the state of Maryland. And my great law professor, Ike Leggett, said, oh, so proud of you. He clapped. They were like, he's so cute. He really believes that. It's funny, when I go around the state now, especially when I'm sitting next to the county executive of Baltimore County, they don't think I'm cute anymore. They don't think you're cute. When I go to Washington, D.C., and I sit with the mayor there, they don't say how cute Prince George's County is. Can we do something for you? Maybe lend you a person? I was in a meeting 2 days ago, I can't remember these days, with the county executives of America. And the guest speaker was the former governor of Virginia. Terry McAuliffe. And I've met Terry, probably twice before this event with the county executives. And the first time he said this thing to me, and I kind of let it pass. And the second time, I'm meeting with him at this event, and he says, they tell him it's a Rushern Baker, he's following your footsteps. He wants to be governor. And the first thing he says to me is, you know what, I know Rushern. In fact, the last time I saw Rushern, I told him, Virginia is kicking your ass in job creation. His words. I said, well, they're not kicking Prince George's County's ass there because I see all those tags coming from Virginia right there to National Harbor and other parts of Prince George's County. Because much like the mayor of Bowie, when people talk about what the failings are of our great county, the mayor is good at pointing out, and you're good at pointing out, why it is great to be here. The good news that we have as we do this tour around in my final months as county executive is we no longer have to do a wish it, dream it, do it, which is a plaque that Leonard Lucci gave me when I was in Annapolis. Because the hospital is real. The development at Milford is real. Downtown Largo is real. Harris Teeter is real. The development in Laurel is real. Brandywine Development Crossing is real. The job numbers are not our numbers that we gave ourselves. They're the numbers that both federal and state have given us. Those are all real. Those are all happening. I hear from people all the time that we have made progress here in Prince George's County, especially now. And when I hear it, it reminds me of a quote that Robert Kennedy once said, progress is a nice word, but change is its motivator, and change has enemies. Think about it. Progress is a nice word, but change is the motivator, and change has enemies. In order for us to move this county forward, you're going to have pushback. When you want to do a development here in Bowie and people don't see the vision of what it means overall, you will have pushback. When you want to change our school system for the better, you will have pushback. When you want to take $50 million of Economic Development Incentive Fund, Tom Himmler, at a time when we have a $75 million budget deficit and no development projects going on, and you say we're going to use that to jumpstart the development of Prince George's County, you will have pushback. But in order to make progress, you have to change. The other thing I would add is you have to believe. You have to believe in yourself, in your people, in your talent pool, just like in any business. If you don't believe you're the best there is, you will not succeed. County is no different. We're in the people business. We're in the motivation business. Each and every worker that goes to work in Prince George's County is an ambassador for the people of Prince George's County. Whether you're in workforce development, whether you're in our supplier diversity office, whether you're in any office, whether you're out there making sure potholes are filled, you're an ambassador. If you don't believe that the work you're doing is going to make a difference in the lives of others, then we want to help you find something else to do. because we need everybody. I'm pleased that as I begin to wind up, that I know and we can turn over to the next county executive not only a place that's better than when we started, which is our charge, but we can also turn over to the next county executive some great people, since the mayor will be here for not only the next county executive, but the next county executive. It's almost like that thing they did in China where the guy gets to stay there forever. You know, we're 82nd Airborne, you know. But in all seriousness, as I close, it is going to be good for the next county executive to know that there are men and women who are out here in the business community that will not only help work with that county executive and the county council, which is critically important, but will have a knowledge base at it. And that's going to be good for the person who comes in after me. It's what motivated me when I came here. And so I will end with this. I will always, and I hope you will invite me back in whatever capacity I may be in, because this has been a place where I found refuge. I said it at the beginning of the talk. I felt comfortable enough coming to speak to you in the beginning of the administration when I was really, really nervous. And if you don't believe me, have a conversation with Tom Himmler. By the way, I just thought of something. You know, half my administration lives in Bowie.
Why you're so
I was like, we can have a cabinet meeting just in Bowie. You can get some more people in Laurel. I'm holding down Chevrolet, so, you know. And Bowie State, is that Calvin back there? Hi, Calvin Hawkins. How are you doing? You got Bowie State University here? Calvin. But, yeah, I will end with this. And the Bowie Baysox for hosting one of the events. You know, Leonard said it tongue-in-cheek about, you know, my connection with the city of Bowie. But he's right. It started and continued not in political office, but on a very personal way. My children did go to Heather Hills, which was a great foundation of their education. As I tell people, especially my youngest, I said, you know, once she got out of Heather Hills, she was done. You could have sent her to prison, she'd be all right. And as she reminds me to this day, you know, she's much smarter than her father and was when she graduated from Heather Hills. But Bowie Baysox is where our family and I would go and watch baseball games. And as a family, you know, they're not big sports people, but they like going there. It was carnival time for them. This is where we shopped. You know, this is where we went to dinner. And this is where, when I gave my speech, I brought my wife, who I knew she would feel comfortable around. And the reason that's important, as I close, is because when things happen in your personal life, it should be a motivator for what you do in your public life. If more people who are in public office understood that the blessings they get in their private life should motivate them to try and make sure that spreads to everybody who may not be in public office, think about how much change we could actually make in a short period of time. That's what you did. God bless you.
We certainly want to thank the county executive, and he's kind enough to be able to take a few questions if you have any at this time. Any questions for our dear friend, Rushern Baker?
Some people know.
So, Mr. Baker, what are your plans after 9 months?
That is a great question. It's not a setup at all. Even if I wasn't running for governor, I would do this. I would go around the state. Because the work that you've done is a great story. I mean, just think about it. You know, as I tell people, I don't actually really do any work. Tom, David, everybody around, they're the ones that are out there working every day. That's you. And so to go to places and tell them how the city has grown, how the chamber comes together as a business entity and make sure people have the opportunity to network, to go to places that don't have active chambers like yours and tell them how we did it. A lot of times they don't believe the story, which is why it's so important we get out there. And I will admit that it does help when I tell them how we've come from where we were in 2010 to where we are now. And wouldn't that be nice to see that across the state? Imagine, David, I know if we could take, we took a non-existent economic development incentive fund and we put $50 million in there. Can you imagine what we could do if we could take the state up to $100 million and we came here and we worked with the city, the county, to do places like, the Liberty Sports Park, which is going to be phenomenal here, and other investments. So I'm going to continue over the next several months going around telling our great story. Karen Toles, are you sneaking off? Did y'all see Karen Toles? Say hi.
Thank you.
She's mad because you know what I didn't mention? Downtown Suitland, which is a great development. Give downtown Suitland a run. There you go. Don't be calling people a goat.
Thank you, Governor.
So we gotta leave.
You got a voting.
We got committee at 10 o'clock.
Well, you got your name called like 4 times. This is why we love coming. This is family.
This is family. We love you.
Yep, that's right.
My chair kicking me out.
Go.
Need a quorum.
That is the story of the Baker administration. I get upstaged by the council.
You see, I stay here with you, right?
You go there, you vote.
Have a good day.
Any more questions? I'm sorry, Ron Watson. Dr. Watson.
Any other questions for the county executive? Yes, ma'am.
So what practical advice will you give to the new county?
That is a great question. I will give to her or him. In all seriousness, because you don't know what it's like when you step into the office. You may think you do. You don't know what it's like to be mayor and executive. And everyone comes in. And this was said to me. I was blessed. Wayne Curry never left my office, literally never left my office, which he referred to as his old office and not my office. But Wayne, Ike Leggett, folks like that were willing to sit down with me. But the mayor, we actually talked to, places that were doing it right. And I don't just say that because I'm here in Bowie. We actually did. We went and sat down with the mayor and his team here in the city to see what they were doing right. And so I say that to say the best advice, and I won't be giving her or him any advice, because I think you're going to make mistakes, and that's part of the job. Heaven knows, I've made a lot. It's usually when I didn't listen to the people who actually knew what they were doing, who work with me. I'm looking at Tom. He's like, yes. But the other thing is to sit down with you. Get your opinions. What are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? How can we make changes? If you think, I'll give you 2 examples of of the county that you helped us reform. One I've already mentioned, the EDI fund. I didn't campaign on an EDI fund when I ran for county executive all 3 times. So if anybody could have come up with all the things you could do differently, I should have been able to, because I ran for it so many times. But that was looking at the best practices here in Prince George's County and places where we saw growth. So that's one. And the other is our permits, inspections, and enforcement, DPI, which took me all of the 5 years to get to say that word, But that was having a one-stop shop in permitting and working with the folks that we wanted to attract. And so my advice for the new county executive when she gets here, or he gets here, is that they should go around and they should talk to you and listen. Take the first 6 months, really, because there's enough going on, but really just sit down and listen. Finally, on that question, because this is something we did, probably because the staff figured out I didn't really understand the government I was about to lead. And we took 2 months, I think it was 2 months, it may have been 3 months, Tom, and we did a tutorial for me, which meant that I went to every agency in Prince George's County and sat down with all the departments, tried to learn what it is that they do. And it sounds like, I kind of didn't like the idea at first because I said, I have important stuff I should be doing. And I think they understood that I shouldn't be doing the important stuff until I understood what exactly it is we do as a county. And that would be the advice that I would leave in a nice note for. But, on that question, let me end this. Whether, in fact, the next person is good or bad in this job is not really on that person. It's on you. You determine whether the person is good or bad at their job. And the reason is, just like in your business, just like in running your cities or your towns, you decide what you will and will not take and how you want that progress moving forward, and how you hold that person accountable. So if you don't engage and demand and help in a great way to move the county forward, then it won't. If you accept status quo, that we've got some nice stuff going on in Prince George's County, it should stay that way, that we shouldn't be preparing for the future, then that's what will happen. But I know this chamber very well, and I know that's not what you're going to do. You're going to demand the best of the person who occupies that job, and you're going to have a lot of advice and opinions, which is good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you mind if I say that?
Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you so much, Rushern. We appreciate you. And I would like to give a special thank you from myself to Ron Watson for putting this event together with me. Without him, really thank you.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming today, and your support of the chamber is greatly appreciated. And I'd like to thank Pauline for writing this in large print so I don't have to put my glasses on. Thank you, and everybody who's older like me, you're going to appreciate that. All right, thank you very much, and this concludes our event.
May I say one thing?
Oh, wait, I'm sorry.
Okay. If you are interested in becoming a chamber member or any more information about the chamber, please see Dr. Ron Watson or Terry Rogers. They're with our membership committee. And thank you.